This is the first on this show. We're going to talk about something that we experienced in real time.
Yeah, over the weekend.
Yeah. It is the evening of Saturday, December 18th, 2021, and Lyle Groniger and Evan Mead.
That's me, by the way.
Yeah. But how wouldn't they know our voices, like, differently from each other? We don't have similar voices.
It's not like we have the same name.
It's true, yeah. So... Anyways, so Lyle and I literally just got back from seeing Spider-Man No Way Home, and since this was such a special, like, event, like, I can't recall the last time I've seen a movie like this. Oh, wait, I can. Probably Avengers Endgame.
I would compare it. Yeah, it's comparable.
Yeah.
We're totally not capitalizing on views right now.
Yeah, no, this is just our thoughts. We kind of wanted to throw this out there. We're not even sure if we're going to upload this, but...
Oh, we can.
Yeah, no, let's do it anyways. So, this is a spoiler-contained review.
Yes.
If you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, or if you don't care about spoilers and want the whole thing spoiled for you, please click off this podcast right now, listen to something else, come back when you've seen it. So, okay, you've been warned.
3, 2, 1.
I cannot believe this movie exists.
Yeah, holy.
Wow.
My jaw was on the floor.
I think is this going to be like, you know, a Mahler recap where like an unbridled praise where he just? Like,
I don't want to talk about this movie for 4 hours.
Yeah, no. So this is what. So what I think we should just do is like just okay. So the basic plot is this. It picks up. I can't think I can't think of any other like MCU film that picks up the minute where the previous film left off.
Yeah.
No, like
not even Endgame did that.
No, because Endgame at least started with, you know, Tony Stark and Nebula in space, and they've been there for like 3 weeks.
It's more like the aftermath, yeah. But yeah, this one's picked up right after Mysterio made that fake news.
Oh yeah, fake news.
And outed Spider-Man as Peter Parker.
Yeah, so one thing I am so glad that wasn't just a throwaway gag and it would have no consequences. No, this thing. Mysterio revealing Spider-Man's secret identity to the world has real fucking consequences. Like, very real. So
did you feel like it was kind of downplayed, though?
Well, this is the thing, though. So, in a world where everyone knows that Tony Stark is Iron Man, everyone knows that Bruce Banner is the Hulk.
Basically, all the Avengers.
Everyone knows, like, the secret identity. Well, everyone knows the secret identity of all the Avengers. Seriously, like if Clint Barton, you know, were to walk down the street, people would know who he is, and Hawkeye is literally about that. So,
yeah, the
whole idea of, you know, secret identities, like Peter Parker has his reasons for not wanting the world to know he's Spider-Man. So once the world does find, but here's the thing:
it's kind of weird.
Not only is he outed for being Spider-Man, if he was just outed, that wouldn't be very much. Like, it'd be like, oh, cool.
For the murder of Mysterio,
he is literally blamed for the murder of Mysterio, and he gets criminally investigated. And
how did that investigator know that Nick Fury went off into outer space?
Because
is that public record.
Well, because Nick Fury would be he would have to entrust someone.
But just some random FBI asshole?
No, he would have to entrust some government agent with the knowledge that he's off-world.
We sent a shuttle into space. Nick Fury is on board.
Pretty much. Anyways.
What about Talos' Nick Fury? What was he doing? Did he have a thumb up his bum or something?
Anyway, so the point is, so it has consequences. Like everyone at school, like, he is basically, like, you know, one of the most controversial figures at his high school.
I don't know, because, like, half of them really love him. Even Flash Thompson, who I did not expect, he's just like, oh, man, he's my best friend, guys. Totes Malotes.
Well, that's him being a hack. He's a fucking
he's a leech.
In this world, like, you know, Flash Thompson in
Tony Rivoli gained some weight in this role.
In Far From Home, he was, like, live streaming everything. He's basically a social media clickbait guru. Like, Flash Thompson in the MCU is, like, Jake Paul. he fucking capitalizes on everything. So, despite the fact that he was like the biggest bully to Peter Parker, as soon as he finds out Peter Parker's Spider-Man, he writes a fucking book. No, he literally publishes a book about how he's best friends with Peter Parker.
Out of his ass,
no, seriously, like, and by the way,
it's just like it seems like two-thirds of everyone seems to be okay, but every once in a while, a guy's like, "You're a murderer. You killed Jake Gyllenhaal."
And like, so there's even a hashtag.
I mean,
like,
Taylor Swift
I believe
was okay with it.
There's even a slogan like "I believe Mysterio."
Yeah. And people keep throwing rocks at his house and shit.
even the freaking like gym teacher is like, I believe Mysterio.
Hannibal Buress, the conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. They even say he's a conspiracy theorist. So imagine like walking down the hall of your high school.
Mysterio's drinking a 40 in a death basket.
Okay, so
sorry.
Essentially, like, so, and it really boils down. So you think that
Peter basically,
but you know what? This scenario works because the Avengers got outed for, like, you know, fucking things up. Like, the whole Sokovia incident forced them to actually diplomatically rein themselves in. Yeah. So, the fact that superhero...
The big turning point is that Peter can't go to MIT and his friends can't either because just by
association. But, like, they all wanted to go to college together.
So then Peter has the brilliant fucking idea to go to Dr. Stephen Strange and be like, can you just, like, undo all this? Like, control, like... Z or whatever.
No, he wants to like cast a spell so that will make everyone in his life forget that he's Spider.
He doesn't put any boundaries or any sort of like caveats to this, and like at the last minute he's just like, "Oh, I'm sorry, can you just have this person remember me?
Yeah, I know.
This person, this person,
he fucking remember.
He breaks the damn spell.
So realistically, like. I was rewatching this really funny video that The Amazing Atheist put out a few years back called, 21 Things I Hate About Movies, and one of the tropes he hates is the hero causes the problem of the movie. Place. So theoretically,
Spider-Man is kind of like the biggest villain in this movie.
Get this, like in a way, the trope is actually kind of inverted, but it works at the end. So I was like,
it does ultimately. Yeah.
I love the bit where like we were just in the theater. I was kind of cringing at. Not cringing lovingly because I'm like, Peter, stop fucking up the fucking spell. Like Doctor Strange is trying to cast like this shit.
Oh, we forgot one thing. There's a cameo early on in the movie when they're like being accosted by everyone. It's like they need a lawyer. Who happens to be in the room? Matt fucking Murdock.
Daredevil.
Charlie Cox. Like, oh my god.
Like from the Netflix series.
Yeah, the first time they've ever acknowledged the goddamn Netflix show. And he's just great, and he seems so happy to be back in the role.
Well, you think that, like, the Defenders would have been at the big battle in Endgame, but even they weren't there.
They're kind of lame, honestly. No one really thinks about those shows anymore.
Well, because, like, I feel like that's the point. Like, the $1 million movies that everyone goes to the theater to see overshadows the Netflix series. Not saying they're not loved. Like, I'm sure Daredevil has its fans. You've told me that Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is probably the best live-action version of Kingpin.
Season 1 of Daredevil is probably the strongest of all the shows. Everything else is kind of just okay-ish or whatever.
Yeah, so...
I didn't bother watching it at all.
Okay, so
Doctor Strange's spell gets kerfuckled.
And then, no, you know what? Like, it did not occur to Peter to fucking call the admissions officer at MIT to plead his case. Instead of going to the fucking sorcerer to fucking... undo.
That's the thing, like, it seemed like a bit of an overreaction. Yeah. But then we wouldn't have a movie, so there you go. So after the spell
we wouldn't have a movie.
So yeah, like after Doctor Strange does his best to contain everything, Peter's like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to MIT lady in the middle of the highway, and then all of a sudden, go dun 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 dun. Hello, Peter.
Dr.
Octopus! And he's like, yeah!
No,
I'm going to beat you up!
This fight, we saw like a bit of it in the trailer, but honestly, that fight was pretty good.
That was so nice.
The fight reminded me of the first time Tobey's Spider-Man fought Doc Ock at the bank and then on the side of the building. And
I got more like a subway vibe.
Oh, yeah, I know the subway vibe too, but they fight him on a bridge, and then get this, so they kind of hint at what kind of character Peter is going to be, because Doc Ock makes a quip about Peter's little girlfriend. It's like, where's your little girlfriend? I'll fucking kill her. And then Peter's like, what did you say?
What the fuck did you say, bitch?
No, he didn't. There's no... This is a PG-13 rating.
Hey, you said Doc Ock dropped enough bomb. Speaking of bombs, you got a pumpkin bomb.
Oh, no. So, no, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
We're not getting ahead of ourselves. Do we have to recount every fucking thing that happens in this fucking movie?
This is what happens.
I'm gonna fall asleep.
So basically, like, how are you gonna fall asleep? It was a fucking amazing movie.
Because I'm tired. It's almost midnight.
No, you know what?
What are we doing?
You and I have gone to, in the time we've been friends, you and I have gone to the movies many, many times, and there are times where I know you're into something, you were on the edge of your seat for like
Doc Ock was
3/4 of the runtime.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've done that.
So seeing the nanotechnology basically like
leeches off onto Doc Ock's arms.
It commandeers his arms and renders them useless.
Then Peter uses his Bluetooth device and syncs the damn arms.
Yeah.
He's like, I got you by the balls. And Doc Ock's like,
and then
give me my toys back.
And then now, I don't mean to nitpick, but then Gobby shows up.
Completely out of his mind.
Yeah. So Gobby shows up, and then basically Doctor Strange is like, yeah, Peter, you done goofed. But I instantaneously know how to solve this problem. Like there are these creepy crawly characters who are running around New York.
Captured.
So by this point, like, Dr. Octavius gets put in, like, a wizard's dungeon. No, literally like the dungeon at Carmitage.
Yeah, and Lizard's there.
They found the lizard from ASM.
That one.
That one. And
it's like, okay, we got a quest for you. You gotta find the other 3 that are lingering
so, like,
around.
any other like, creepy character that's from, like, another reality of a guy who knows Peter Parker, let's fucking find them, and I'm gonna give you this wizard web shooter
it's like a teleportation
it'll
it's like a portal gun.
It's a portal gun. It'll portal them to the dungeon at Carmitage, and once I have all these guys contained, I'm sending them back to their respective timelines.
They already use that weapon very often.
They try, and then
it would be too easy.
So then,
I guess.
He
goes in the middle of fucking nowhere.
No, so the only lead he knows of is the Green Goblin, I guess, attacks a military base. So they basically Peter goes to hunt down the Green Goblin
with the help of MJ and Ned.
But on the way, he gets intercepted by Sandman, and then
he gets intercepted by Electro first.
And then
Sandman gives him a hand. And he's just like, oh, hey, Peter. Oh, hey, Peter. Oh, you're not Peter.
Do you know what?
What the fuck?
I feel like that version of Sandman that got sucked into this reality was the Sandman that Peter Parker forgave. He calls him Peter. Like, he would know who Peter is.
Yeah.
Like, they would be almost kind of friends.
Like, oh, hey, I remember you. We were battling.
Yeah, so...
You're a little Pete.
So, but I loved how they...
I like how they updated his
going into this movie, you knew Sandman was going to be in it.
I was looking forward to him, actually.
You were, but you were also worried that they were... Like, so... All he wants is to go back and help his daughter. What is he going to do in this movie?
Yeah.
What they do with him is actually really cool. Because, like, they actually talk him into... To make a long story short, he just wants nothing to do with any of this. He just
he just wants to fuck
But here's the thing,
honestly.
like... when they encounter Electro, all these villains, they're in a very unique position where they all talk to each other in the Carmitage dungeon. Like, seriously, Doc Ock, the Lizard, Electro, and Sandman are all talking to one another, and they're all
eventually Green Goblin.
And then Norman Osborn, played by, oh my god, I think Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe. It felt like time never passed. Like,
he sunk right back into his role. I kind of feel like Alfred Molina was a little bit much.
Well, keep in mind,
he just wasn't really on the same level as he was in the Spider-Man.
The thing is, though, like, Alfred Molina...
Jamie Foxx was so much better in this. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I hated him in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Absolutely hated him.
But I like how they kind of...
But they fixed him up.
They acknowledge how, like...
He didn't look so stupid.
He didn't look like a Dr. Manhattan knockoff.
Yeah, a little dingle-dangle hanging around.
So how the heck was he able to reform his skin? Like that, because that's the thing. Like
no, when he got captured, it was just before he died. In Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I don't really know how they got rid of his blue. I think he just recharged, and I guess it's kind of tenuous. They don't really explain why he's I guess it was just like, okay, look, we know the design in the original sucked, so let's just sweep it under the rug. He's better now. He looks more like his comic book counterpart.
And because he's in the MCU, so basically, this is it goes to somewhere that it takes an element that I honestly didn't see coming, and you might find that to be a little strange, but the way this movie is written, it actually kind of works. Doctor Strange basically says this: once you find everyone who is in this reality, and by the context of this reality, I mean the MCU universe, anyone who's in our universe who knows Peter Parker from another timeline, you have to find him and you have to send them back to their respective timelines. The only problem is, once all these villains are in the Comertage Dungeon and they get talking, they connect some dots and they realize that, oh shit, if we go back to our timelines, the Spider-Man in that timeline will kill us. Or we'll die.
Unless you're Lizard or Sandman.
Well, no, no, Lizard doesn't. Lizard didn't die, and Sandman didn't die. But Sandman's like, I read about the Green Goblin, and Dr. Octavius. You both die fighting Spider-Man.
It is neat knowing that these villains now have something to strive for, because now it's like clear as day that it's like if they go back, it's just going to be an endless cycle. So Doctor Strange is of the philosophy that, okay, well, what's done is going to be done anyway, so fuck it. But then Peter's like, no, we can fix him. And they're like, fix us? We're going to fix us?
And so, no, like, I am not kidding. We're not kidding about this. Doctor Strange takes Peter to the mirror dimension, which we've seen.
Well, he knocks him out of his body first.
Well, and then by the way, like,
that was
it wasn't. This is a nitpick of the movie.
It wasn't explained how he could just like control.
Yeah,
his body.
like that. I honestly thought the explanation for that was Toby and Peter. Okay, we're gonna get this out of the way. Yes, Toby and Andrew do show up, and their entrances were awesome. But I thought it was either Toby or Andrew that was like fucking with the spider. Because you know how in Into the Spider-Verse, the spider people can all sense each other with their spider sense.
Spider-Man's the only person so far in the MCU who is able to like reconnect his soul. Hey, speaking of which, what Doctor Strange did that to Thanos?
Like knock.
Like, would that have stopped him or what?
Well, yeah, no. Hey, this is a nitpick of Infinity War, but it's like not to go off on a tangent, but all they could do was like get Mantis to fucking put him under a partial coma to get the.
Yeah, why didn't Doctor Strange just go and the big purple nugget man would just be like,
Grimace could.
And then he could put his soul in the Mirrorverse, and he could off the planet.
No. The reason why that didn't work was because Strange in Infinity War tried to trap Thanos in the mirror dimension. Thanos broke the mirror dimension with the Reality Stone. What the fuck? So no, he can do that. So
there's a lot going on in that sequence. Anyways, let's go back.
So basically, Strange and Spider-Man actually have a duel in the mirror dimension, and Peter actually wins. I am not kidding about this.
Yeah, he beats him with the power of geometry.
So Peter is apparently so powerful in this world that he can. And I'm talking about Tom Holland's Peter. Tom Holland's Peter is so strong that he apparently uses the logic of math to outdo magic. Cool. So anyway, Doctor Strange gets trapped for a good third of the movie.
Pretty much a big chunk of the movie.
So basically, Tom Holland. You know,
not to be on a side tangent, but you ever notice how Wong just kind of steps in and out of movies?
Wong might be the new Nick Fury,
like he
of the new Marvel Cinematic.
He'll walk into a scene and be like, "Oh, hey, you guys, I gotta establish something. Okay, bye."
And then that was literally Nick Fury.
He's kind of a weirdo. You think he just like walks in on people in the shower and just be like, "Hey, I'm just gonna look at you. Okay, bye." Okay, Wong, that's wrong.
Yeah. So, anyways,
sorry.
Wong comes in.
So after defeating Doctor Strange, Peter basically has everyone crash at his crib.
No, seriously, by the way, because the media knows Peter Parker's address in Queens, they relocate to Happy Hogan's like condo in, I guess, like the far east end of Queens, or I don't know. It's somewhere.
It doesn't matter.
It's by the so the point semantics. Yeah. So they relocate to Happy Hogan's condo in New York.
Peter wants to help out each villain and basically fix their problem. Like he fixes Doc Ock's little battery thing.
The inhibitor chip
that helps him control his arms. He helps.
That scene was actually heartfelt because Doc Ock actually wakes up and is like,
"Oh, I'm all better now."
I was like, no. It actually it was kind of. Do you know what? It was a nice little payoff to the line, "I will not die a monster" from Spider-Man 2. I know he technically sacrificed himself, but he has still done horrible things. Like he set up the machine that was going to destroy New York, but he actually kind of makes peace with himself.
Well, he doesn't do it for malignant intent.
Yeah.
He just wants to try and build a renewable energy source.
Which is he's
like you do.
Otto Octavius was the Tony Stark of the Raimi.
Do you think that machine was kind of bullshitty though? That Stark had that could just build anything.
Well, it was established in Far From Home that Happy has access to a suit builder or a science. Okay, that machine was established in Far From Home. It's established that it can build a suit. But it can also do whatever the plot requires it to.
Yeah, it's like vibranium. Think about it.
No, seriously, this machine. I guess it's a nitpick, but this machine kind of does whatever they need to do. So it builds.
Anyways, Electro also has an inhibitor that basically stabilizes him if he overexerts his energy field or whatever.
And they were going to
normalize Green Goblin with like a better serum.
They want to give him the antidote to the performance enhancers to basically cure the Goblin sickness.
Okay.
They
don't really do too much to establish the other things. It's just like, Lizard, it's the anti-Lizard.
Sandman,
he won't be Sand anymore.
Sandman, they do like the part, they build a miniaturized version of the particle accelerator, but here's the thing, that won't be relevant until later. So this is
basically every villain has weakness thing.
So basically, we gotta kind of give some context for Green Goblin. So Willem Dafoe basically is loose in the MCU. He basically runs around, and there's a kind of a clever scene where he's in an alleyway, and the Goblin personality and the Power Rangers looking mask is like talking to him. So he punches the mask to try. He thinks that if he destroys the mask, he'll kill the Goblin personality. And for a while, it actually looks like the Goblin personality goes away.
Nope.
No, seriously, because he wanders into Aunt May's homeless shelter, and he actually impersonates like a homeless person. And Aunt May tells Peter, like, we gotta help him, but Peter knows who he is. It's like, I should just web him up and send him back. But he has a connection with Norman Osborn, and it's like, oh no, I can't send him back knowing that the Spider-Man of his timeline will kill him. We can't do that. I kind of like these people.
Yeah, but ultimately it's all for naught because he turns back into the Goblin.
No, so get this.
Betrays everyone.
No, so the Green Goblin makes a very scary return. Okay, when I said a couple of minutes ago that when it feels like time had not passed with Willem Dafoe's performance, he literally it felt like he just walked off the set of the first Spider-Man movie and he just jumped right back in. It was so cool.
Yeah, he was the most seamless.
And what I love is Alfred. I don't know what Alfred Molina's been up to career-wise but he hasn't done much. Willem Dafoe and Jamie Foxx have been getting consistent work. I really like that about them. So when they jump back into their characters, Thomas Hayden Church hasn't even done that much.
He shows up and stuff. Easy A and he's in that stupid Hellboy remake.
Easy A was he was in the Hellboy remake.
Yeah, he played Lobster Johnson.
Oh my god,
which is funny because Bruce Campbell played Lobster Johnson in a video game.
That's funny.
So you just get a Raimi guys. Man, Bruce Campbell was not in this movie. What a piece of shit.
One star. I'm going on Letterboxd and complaining. This movie was horrible. Do
you think Bruce Campbell's going to be in the Doctor Strange movie?
He is the Leo DiCaprio of Sam Raimi, so why the hell not?
Okay, yeah.
So
Green Goblin betrays Peter.
Green Goblin fucks up the whole plan.
Electro joins alongside him. Basically, all the villains disperse.
And Lizard was kind of... sitting in the fuck. No, they left the Lizard in a delivery van outside the property.
It's like King Shark from Suicide Squad.
Lizard.
He can't walk around.
No, Lizard is like, and by the way,
Dr. Octopus totally fine.
Lizard was a fucking edgelord. He's like, the plan has come to fruition. He kind of knew. Lizard knew that everything was gonna go to shit, and he said, Peter, I told you there would be consequences.
So Spider-Man and Green Goblin fight. And I gotta say, like,
that fight was...
I'm trying to...
Sorry.
Whoever built that building, they must have built it out of fucking cardboard, because all the floors were so easily destructible. They just, like, they would jump and just land on the fucking floor, and they'd fall through.
I feel like because he's in a different dimension, strength would mean something different in the Raimi universe dimension. Think about it, because like, you know how, like, you know, when he's fighting Spider-Man in the first Raimi movie, he flies Spider-Man into a glass window pane and it's appropriately handled, like the glass breaks a little bit. No, but in this movie, the Green Goblin fucking throws Tom Holland through like 3 floors of a condo, and it's like, these floors.
I like the one part where Tom keeps trying to punch him in the face, but Green Goblin just eats it up, and he's like,
Isn't that like not till later? Or?
No, it was in that fight.
Oh, and then again later. The point is,
it's like you just can't hurt him.
Unfortunately, so Marvel,
nothing to do with
Marvel has balls. Marvel has balls to begin with. For the MCU has balls, because a common complaint is that, you know, the MCU doesn't have the balls to kill anyone. Nope. Aunt May fucking dies.
Yeah,
we're not kidding. Like, no, and they kind of fake it out to the point where it's like,
she might be okay. I don't know how.
Oh no, she could die, and she does die.
Yeah.
And the Green Goblin kills her, and Lyle and I, we were having like some fun camaraderie, like in the theater, like, because like we leaned over to each other a couple of times, whispering like quips in each other's ears. Like you leaned over and said, "Finish it, because So in the Raimi movie, he doesn't really kill Aunt May. He just blows up her bedroom and scares her.
She's in the hospital for a little bit.
Well, that was to send a message to Spider-Man, like, "Hey, I know who you are, and I
put a Band-Aid on her, you know."
So essentially, we should
kind of keep going.
The Goblin kills Aunt May.
So Tom Holland is like a horrible, like,
emotional breakdown.
He just feels like he's just a failure. And then Zendaya and
the second act low point is
pretty good. So
but
we should also mention Ned steals Doctor Strange's
sling ring,
yeah. And he's like, I just want to find Peter, and he creates a portal. And who's in that portal? But none other than Andrew Garfield.
Oh my God, the Amazing Spider-Man.
It looks a little bit older now, but it's not so noticeable.
It didn't look as noticeable. Just for the record, our theater clapped 3 times. Our theater clapped when Daredevil showed up. The theater went wild. When Andrew Garfield showed up, the theater went wild. And then Tobey fucking Maguire comes through a portal. Andrew Garfield and Tobey come through the portals like Endgame style. It's so special. And
it feels neat.
No, it does. Like,
by
the way, for context, we're gonna have to throw up a clip of. Okay, so a couple years back, Lyle and I were editing. We're like doing some work. We were editing a wedding video I shot for my friends, and we got bored and we started playing with Spider-Man action figures. We'll throw up the clip.
Out, am I?
No, do the whole thing.
What about my generous proposal? Are you in or are you out?
You're the one who's that guy.
Are you mine? Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Oh, now I feel like Andrew Garfield. Now I know how Andrew Garfield feels. Oh,
fuck that guy.
So I leaned over to you as soon as the second Andrew Garfield appeared on screen. I'm like, fuck that guy.
I'm actually amazed. I actually really liked Andrew Garfield in this movie.
Which means the world to me coming from you, because You didn't like the web series, which is what we call the amazing.
Yeah, we call the ASM or whatever.
The ASM.
Yeah, we always call it the web series because it's directed by Mark Webb.
Yeah.
And yeah, I never liked those movies. I found them like really pale in comparison to the Raimi trilogy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Andrew Garfield, it just worked. I don't know.
No, he was really good. Like, he didn't feel like a Shia LaBeouf impersonator. I wrote this in my... I'm reviewing all the Spider-Man movies on Letterboxd, and you liked my ASM review. You said...
we should really move on here.
So then Tobey Maguire shows up, and...
How do you feel about Tobey Maguire? Like,
I thought it was a nice little... I loved seeing him again. I thought they were gonna, because you know how the MCU has used de-aging technology, like revolutionary.
Yeah, he wasn't de-aged that much.
They didn't de-age him at all. Like, and this guy's almost 50, but I guess he's cursed with like perpetual youth disease because he's one of those actors that's gonna look young no matter how old he is. Like, it was actually him and Leo DiCaprio kind of had that.
There's his name again.
No, him and Leo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire, they grew up
They're
best
together. Friends, actually.
They are best friends. So
I found his performance to be a little rigid, like compared to his Raimi trilogy appearances.
Well, I would give it a little slack because like he's this really laid back guy, and he would be the most experienced out of all of them because logically he would have been Spider-Man the longest.
Yeah.
So like for example,
back pain.
Oh no, that was great. So
after having a big heart-to-heart, the team realized the three Spider-Men decide we're gonna face off against these 5 villains, not 6. We were so close to a Sinister Six with this movie.
This is as close to a Sinister Six movie as we're ever gonna get.
I'll take it. I mean, they could have put Vulture in there, but you can't have too many flying villains. I guess.
They can't. No, they can't. Vulture. What's Vulture gonna do? His wings were destroyed.
How about Shocker? Just have him come out.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey guys. It's like, what are you gonna do? You fucking moron.
We
got Electro. He's 10 billion times better than you.
So. But here's the thing: in the context of the MCU, Electro gets his hands on a Tony Stark arc reactor, and it's like, "This is all the power. I will rule.
I'll show true power."
So basically,
they are gonna congregate on the Statue of Liberty, which has a really garish fucking Captain America shield.
Okay. I am glad that they destroyed that because that was so dumb. Like, I'm glad the MCU kind of acknowledged that in this world, yeah, Captain America helped save the universe, so we're gonna pay homage to him by adding an addition to the Statue of Liberty. Nah, that even by that world standards, it's too cheesy.
That was pretty bad.
So basically, the statue. There's a subplot in this movie where the Statue of Liberty is being renovated with a Captain America shield is over, like covering over the torch. Like, I'm gonna can you imagine the Statue of Liberty with Cap's shield? No.
No, that's weird. That just felt wrong, but whatever.
And it doesn't even make sense because if you've seen the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, Captain America, the mantle got passed on. It's not like Captain America's dead or anything. Like, he just became someone else. So the point is...
So how'd you feel about the final battle?
I want to talk about... Before the final battle, I'm actually really glad that they didn't just go right to the final battle, because remember when... remember how in Age of Ultron they create Vision and then Vision talks to them for like a little bit and then Vision goes right into battle with them?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, yeah.
They don't do that in this movie. They actually spend a good 10 minutes of screen time with the Spider-Men, all 3 of them, just congregating and talking to one another. And it doesn't slow the pacing at all. Like, they go to the high school lab at Midtown Tech, and they're basically just congregating. They're talking about, they're shooting the shit, or in this case, shooting webs. Now, called one scene.
Yeah, 6 months ago I said they are totally going to make a joke about the fact that Toby's the only Spider-Man who generates his own organic webbing.
Yeah. And
everyone else needs web shooters. Like, I thought Andrew Garfield was like, oh, hey, that's pretty cool. I build web shooters too. I like your design better, though. It's like, oh, thanks. I mean, mine's like electric proof, but, I could share your details. And then Toby would just look at his own wrist and just be like, what?
Like,
I just make my own webbing. I'm called Spider-Man for a reason. Isn't
And-
that kind of weird? Like, why isn't it Spider-Man doesn't make his own webbing? Everyone complained about that change in the Raimi trilogy, but I'm just like, it makes logical sense.
It makes completely... Well, when you see where they go with it in Spider-Man 2, it makes complete sense.
Yeah.
And they even... Not only does it make sense, they even talk about it in detail in this movie. Like, I'm not kidding. There's a... Okay, right before they go... So, the Spider-Man, after they're congregating in the Spider-Man basically say, yeah, Peter, Tom Holland's Peter, we need to agree... By the way, seeing the credits of this movie, it was so weird seeing Peter Parker Spider-Man, Tom Holland, Peter Parker Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, like, literally, the same character is, like, credited.
Well, it's not like they can just call each other, hey, Toby, go beat up
Wizard.
Lizard.
They had to call, in the context of this movie, they had to call each other Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
It's too bad that Toby wasn't Spider-Man 1.
Well, because you'd think that
he's the first, and then Andrew could have been second, and then Tom Holland would be the third.
They have to have Tom Holland being
Tom Holland's the protagonist.
So basically,
okay.
Tom Holland is like Tom.
Yeah,
so basically, going into this fight,
how do you feel about the fight?
The fight was done in terms of its choreography. It's actually done pretty well. Like it, I got major. Okay, so a little nostalgia trip for you. Josh and Brandon Levine and myself, like, we were part of that. Us and a bunch of others. Josh saw Spider-Man 3 like for his birthday party on we went to see Spider-Man 3 for his birthday party, and
Okay.
I remember I'm like a 15-year-old kid. We're all 15 at the time, and I remember seeing the big battle between Sandman, Venom, and New Goblin and Spider-Man. And I remember that was like, at the time, the Avengers hadn't existed yet, and the Fantastic Four was the only like superhero team we had.
Oh Christ! How about the X-Men?
Oh, the X-Men and the Fantastic Four were the only superhero teams we had. But
yeah.
Seeing that team up was like, it was epic. Like, watching that was really fun.
Yeah, that final battle was cool for the time.
The reason why I bring that up is because I got those same vibes watching this, like in No Way Home. And so the three Spider-Men, they all create cures for all their respective villains. Like, they create the antidote that turns Lizard human again. And by the way, like, they show Risa Fons and our friend David, who we saw this with, David's been on this show. David was like the guy from the Harry Potter movies. I'm like, the guy has a fucking name. His name is Risa Fons, and he was criminally underrated as the Lizard, and he's criminally underrated now.
What are you talking about? He wasn't in the credits?
I think he... Well, you noticed that
Thomas Hayden Church.
He wasn't...
I don't think he was credited.
I wonder if, like...
Unless we missed it, I don't know.
Well, he must have been credited in, like, the main... No, not...
He was in the main credits, but I mean, like, the sizzle reel.
They do a reverse particle accelerator that basically makes him regular man. He turns him from...
Here comes the man!
Look out! Here comes the man!
Yeah, it basically turns everyone back into, like, regular people. And Electro, they defeat him. Doc Ock actually intervenes.
Well, Doc Ock actually, like, remember,
I
Electro was, like, cornering this
Andrew Garfield. I was so afraid when Electro unleashed electricity on Doc Ock that would fry the chip again.
Oh, God.
But they didn't do that. He just, like, fled, and then he comes back and he's like, hey, guys, I'm Otto Octavius still, and I'm just gonna help out.
And... So, you think all the villains are taken care of. Uh-oh, you forgot one of them. The Green Goblin's still out there. Now, just for the record, remember how the other night you and I were watching the first Spider-Man movie just to kind of get us in the mood for this movie? And we knew the Goblin was coming back. But get this. So, you said he doesn't need his Power Ranger mask.
He doesn't need a mask.
And guess what they do? They have him destroy the mask, and he basically is the Green Goblin with a hood and goggles. He's not, because Willem Dafoe's face already looks like a goblin's face.
Pretty much.
So, and like his scowl is actually really menacing. Like his facial expressions lend themselves to.
Yeah, no, everyone is talking about how good Willem Dafoe is.
Willem Dafoe, man.
Yeah, he's great.
So the point is, Willem Dafoe comes back and he actually destroys the one thing that can send all these characters home.
Yeah.
But and by the way, and Doctor Strange comes back.
Yeah, he comes back in the nick of time.
Basically.
So there's like this massive rift that's occurring throughout the dimensions. Doctor Strange is the only one who can try and fix it. MJ almost dies. She falls off.
But then
Andrew has a redemption arc, and he saves her in the nick of time. It's
and
like, oh,
he's fucking crying when he realizes.
Are you okay? And it's like, yeah, are you okay?
Because there's the whole Gwen thing.
They mentioned Gwen quite a bit.
Well, because all these Spider-Man lost someone they care about and they blame themselves for it. That's the big arc of this movie. This was the ultimate vehicle for Tom Holland's Spider-Man to understand. Okay, if you have complaints with Homecoming and Far From Home about how, Tom Holland doesn't really feel like Spider-Man, I'm actually being inclined to agree with you. In this movie, they correct that because he really understands the gravity of being Spider-Man.
It doesn't feel like he has a crutch. In the first movie, it's mostly Iron Man. In the second movie, he kind of leans on Mysterio.
I remember my friend I had a coworker named Jack at the time that Homecoming was being advertised, and his fear was, it's going to be like Iron Man's going to dominate the movie, when we saw Homecoming in the theater, we're like, Iron Man's only in it for 5 minutes. It cost the film's production $10 million just to have Robert Downey Jr. there for 5 minutes, but so then in that movie, Iron Man is the mentor who's in the background, but in what do you call it?
Far From Home.
In Far From Home, he doesn't have a Mysterio and Nick Fury kind of take him under their wings, but ultimately, Happy Hogan is the Deus Ex Machina that gives him the resources to build a new suit. Basically. So Spider-Man has some kind of crutch. In this movie, all those crutches are gone. All he has are the other Spider-Men to basically...
And Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange and the other Spider-Men to pass on...
He butts heads was Doctor Strange. You know what was actually a cute moment that I totally forgot about until just now?
What?
I love it when they're on the bridge, in the highway. Dr. Octopus is, gonna fight Peter, and then Peter has, his, mechanical arms stick out. It's like, well, boys, looks like we have some competition. I'm like, holy shit, I never thought of that.
Because
awesome.
Iron Spider and Dr. Octavia and Doc Ock go toe to toe. That was really cool.
That was a neat idea.
Yeah.
Lots of things pay off in this movie.
Oh yeah,
So after defeating most of the villains, Peter has he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill Green Goblin because he killed Aunt May.
I thought that was brilliant because in the comics, the Green Goblin kills Gwen Stacy, which they did in ASM 2.
He almost succeeds.
But do you know? In ASM 2, there was a deleted scene where Andrew goes back and beats Dane DeHaan almost to death.
I wanted to beat Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin. That guy was a bitch.
Well, I feel we've ragged on Dane DeHaan since episode 1 of this show. So
I love him in Chronicle, but
how is it? Isn't it crazy?
Not his moment. Where it was not a shining moment for him.
Isn't it crazy that Chronicle and the first Amazing Spider-Man came out the same year?
Sure, yes it is.
And while we're on the topic of the Amazing Spider-Man, there was a bit where just Toby and Andrew are talking to each other, and it's like, oh, I'm kind of lame, and you're just grinning. I look at you because
his movies are kind of lame.
They are kind of lame.
God damn it, Andrew was trying.
Okay, and then Toby's like, no, you're amazing. I see what
you are amazing. You are amazing. Okay,
but
keep telling yourself.
I think my favorite moment between all three of them is where the villains are coming to the Statue of Liberty, and it's like, we have to coordinate. Guys, it's like. You guys haven't been on a team before, and it's like, and Andrew and Toby are like, yeah, no, we don't really team up. Yeah, well, and Tom Holland's like, yeah, well, I've been on a team. I fought with the Avengers, and then it's like, and Toby is like,
that's great. What are the Avengers?
I'm like, he would ask something like that.
And Andrew's like, oh, you're in a band? That's so cool. You're in a band? It's like, no.
That made me, do you know what? I felt so happy hearing them ask about the Avengers because The Amazing Spider-Man came out 2 months after the first Avengers movie, and I kept thinking to myself, they might as well interconnect they couldn't interconnect at the time because Spider-Man was property of Sony and only Sony. So the whole merger with Marvel Disney hadn't happened yet. So
yeah. So after God, I'm getting it mixed up. Tom nearly kills the Green Goblin, but then Toby intervenes.
Which is right out of the comics.
Yeah, and Toby's like, no, you shouldn't. He takes the glider and he's like, don't do it. And then the fucking Goblin stabs Toby.
We thought he was gonna die.
I thought he was gonna die. Kind of like in Infinity War, I guess when you get stabbed, you're not gonna die.
Getting stabbed means nothing.
It's just like, well, you almost died.
So no. So Batman, Iron Man, and Spider-Man have all survived getting stabbed but didn't die. Yep.
But anyways, carrying on. So like, then Andrew's like, "Oh, catch!" And he grabs the serum and he stabs Green Goblin, and now it's just Normie Norman. And then Doctor Strange is like, "Oh no, I don't think we're gonna be able to fix this now." And Spider-Man's like, "Well, what if everyone just forgot me?"
Apparently, people from the other dimensions were coming through. But get this,
the only one I recognized was Rhino.
I thought we were gonna see flashes of I thought Kirsten Dunst was maybe going to come back, and Emma Stone might have come back. No, but the thing is,
I want to see Emma Stone dressed as Spider-Gwen.
It could happen. Hey, if they show what happens to Andrew Garfield going back to his universe, it could.
Yeah, that's one thing I wish the movie did.
It sucks them all out from different points in time. Like, it sucked Doc Ock right from the second where he's about to stab Peter at, let's see you scurry out of this. He said,
what I mean to say is that I'm curious, now that these villains have all been reformed, when they get turned back to their own timelines, what are they doing next?
That's a good point.
I wish that was a post-credits scene, but we didn't get that, so I guess we have to use our imagination.
So basically, Doctor Strange says, I can fix all of this, but I'll have to cast a spell that will make every single person in this reality forget that you are Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man's like, yep, it'll be fine.
Spider-Man says, do it.
And so, he says goodbye to the Spider-Men, and he says goodbye to MJ and Ned, and it's like...
I felt for them, because it kind of... Do you know what I know you don't like it when I compare some threequels to Return of the King, but did it almost feel like that scene where Frodo says goodbye to his Hobbit friends?
I guess.
It almost feels like that.
I really love Lord of the Rings, but yeah.
Well, I for some context, audience,
I haven't seen it in a long time.
So. I regard Return of the King as one of the greatest threequels of all time.
You mean Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, everyone knows what Return of the King is.
Yeah. After that,
this was without a doubt, this was of the John Watts Spider-Man trilogy. This took two okay movies at best.
Kind of bland.
Movies, but not good
offensive.
At best Spider-Man movies, and it ended off with a masterpiece. By the way, I don't just think this movie is a masterpiece because I'm looking at it through rose-tinted nostalgia goggles and seeing all these guys from
it literally does the Herculean task of ending 3 different franchises on satisfying notes.
That's why that's why when we started this recording, I cannot believe this exists.
Yeah.
It's insane. And
how do you feel about the post credits?
Okay, so basically, before we get to that, quickly, he has to live in he has to live in, yes, we will. Okay. He has to live in Tom Holland's Toby and Andrew go back to their respective realities, and everyone else goes back to their respective realities.
As better people.
Seriously. And then, and just a quick note, one of the things I disliked, I like Spider-Man 3, but one of the things I dislike about it is the last scene where it's it kind of ends Mary Jane, MJ, and Peter's relationship on an ambiguous note. You don't know if they're going to get back together. Toby actually says, MJ and I, it took some time, but we worked it out. Does that means that the fans can all picture a reality where we never got a Spider-Man 4 with them, but that means that the fans can now say Toby's Peter and Kirsten Dunst's MJ in another reality that we'll never see. They worked it out, and that's all I need. That's awesome.
Pretty much.
And then And Andrew Garfield, like, he comes from a time where Gwen is dead, and he chose to be Spider-Man again.
He's kind of bitter.
But he said, I've become kind of bitter. And this, you can kind of tell that this experience kind of lightened him up, and that's really special. So
he's like, I love you guys.
Yeah, no, he's like the one, like, I love you guys, and Toby's like, that's really nice of you. Like, Toby is just so goody-goody about everything. Like, when Peter says, going back to that comment about the Avengers, like, you're in the Avengers, that's great. Who are the Avengers? Like, he's so nice. Like, I love that. And then, Tom Holland Spider-Man, the reality he goes back to reality where no one knows who he is. Not even J. Jonah Jameson. Now, let's talk about J. Jonah. I can't believe we neglected him this whole review. J. Jonah Jameson is great. They totally do a stab at Alex Jones. Like,
that's pretty good.
No, they do a stab at Alex Jones.
Missed opportunity, though. I would have liked to have seen Toby say, well, I guess some of the universes never changed, Jameson.
Yeah.
That would have been cool, but I guess I had enough winking as it is.
Yeah.
So, nobody remembers Peter. He's living a quiet life now. He can still be Spider-Man, and thankfully, it's just his identity is kind of, like, misrepresented. See, I don't get it. It's like, even if everyone forgot, he could just make new memories with them and restart all over again.
They kind of hint that he's going to do that.
It's what Star-Lord's going to have to do with Gamora now, but, like, whatever.
Because he has to start from square one. The Gamora, the Gamora he knows is dead, which means he has to reintroduce himself.
Or he could just get a new girl.
No,
I don't know.
he has to go the Shrek Forever After route, where he has to reconvince.
I have to prove my love to the green girl.
He has to prove his love to Green Girl all over again, and that's gonna have to happen in.
Oh yeah, and he builds his own suit for once.
Yes, like one of the minor nitpicks about the John Watts trilogy
is that everything's Iron Manized.
Yeah, no, Stark Tech. He closes off the series in a suit that is handcrafted by him and not Tony Stark or anything related to Tony Stark, and that's and so post-credit scene. Tom Hardy's Venom is there for a little bit.
That was kind of awkward, to be honest.
So, like, so he basically got dropped into the MCU for a little bit, and he's talking.
Spent his entire time in a bar,
and then he fades away, and then. But oops, a little drop of the symbiote stayed by. That doesn't make sense.
I can't see Tom Holland changing all that much with the symbiote suit, because already he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, bye. Oh, I'm so sorry." With like the symbiote suit, he's just gonna be like, "Get out of my way! I'm gonna beat the snot out of you. I'm a gangster." Yeah.
So
now.
I read a headline the other day that said, like, contract wise, Tom Holland has, like, agreed to do 3 more Spider-Man movies in the MCU. And you know what?
Wow.
Like, he has come into his own. Like,
he's pretty much the
as
face.
long as we get to breathe a little bit from the superhero.
He's pretty much the face of the MCU at this point.
He is.
I mean, Captain Marvel could have been, but
no.
So, like, yeah, it's Spider-Man now.
But you're looking forward to the Captain Marvel sequel.
No, I'm not.
I thought you said you were. Like,
no.
I thought you said you're curious. Like, they could make her likable. They could.
I mean,
win her over.
They should, because they need to Thor up Captain Marvel. No. They got to Ragnarok her.
You have to see that episode of the Thor episode of What If, because Captain Marvel takes the piss.
Okay, I get it. He beats her up, but like, whatever. And then the other post credits, literally just a trailer for Doctor Strange's movie, which is directed by Sam Raimi. Yeah, I didn't really get a Sam Raimi vibe at all from it, though. I hope Marvel doesn't just, like, sanitize his style.
Oh, God.
Listen, we know you made, like, you made 2 really good trilogies.
Well, do you hope that he doesn't suffer, like, an Edgar Wright style fate or a Joss Whedon style fate?
No, because, like, he's attached and he's not gonna leave, like, halfway through.
But, like, but here's the thing. When we saw Ant-Man, parts of Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp felt like an Edgar Wright movie.
Not so much Ant-Man.
Despite the fact that Peyton Reed took over.
I don't know. I just don't. Sam Raimi's one of my favorite directors. I love he's one of the most distinct visuals. He has one of the most distinct visual styles I've ever seen. I just don't want him to get, like, sanitized. I want to see, like, his, like, crazy angles. I want to see his personality showing through.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I don't know. While I don't really love that it ended on a trailer, it's fine. Whatever.
It reminded me of what they did with Captain America: The First Avenger, where they just, instead of a post-credit scene, they stuck a TV spot for the Avengers. They even had next summer, like the Avengers coming May 4th, 2012. And
yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, I straight up skipped like Eternals and Black Widow, and I thought Shang-Chi was kind of just okay. But this movie kind of blew my pants off. I won't lie.
Like.
It's
I remember
actually...
at the post-credit scene in Shang-Chi, you saw Captain Marvel like, ew, get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently the director just loves working with Brie Larson, so that's why she was there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, this is actually kind of... I don't know if it's because of the hype, or maybe I just need to kind of simmer down a bit. So far, it's really high on my MCU list, and it's probably in my top 3 Spider-Man movies.
I actually was really worried that the hype was going to ruin this movie, like Spider-Man 3 style, where the expectations just get way too high.
Yeah.
But you know what? A lot could have gone wrong with this scenario of let's have the Spider-Man intermingle with one another. It was actually as close to perfect as they got it, because the Spider-Man, they don't just meet and then they don't just go jump into battle. My biggest fear was that Toby and Andrew would just come up for like a 2-minute cameo and just leave, and they would give like some words of wisdom to Peter, and that was it. Nope, they are characters in this movie, and it is amazing to watch them.
Yeah,
like,
that's hella fun.
It was. Now, I am definitely going to see this movie again.
Yeah.
But
no, it's funny, when Veronica saw this yesterday, she told me, like, Lyle, if you hate this movie, I'm gonna dump you.
I think that's just because she knows that, you know, when something is hyped,
So thankfully, I'm not in the doghouse. I really enjoyed the movie, and we're gonna have a long chat about it soon.
Yeah.
Just kind of like the one we had just now. So yeah, it was fun recounting this. I need to go to bed now.
Well, before we end off, I'd just like to say this. You know, Spider-Man 2 is my favorite Spider-Man for, like, an emotional reason. Like,
yeah, me too.
It has got... when I was kind of, like, you know, struggling in grade... I actually didn't see Spider-Man 2 in its entirety until I was in 9th grade. And by that time... like, I was kind of struggling to, like, kind of manage, like, you know, a new high school and like, you know, like, course loads and stuff. So that little hard time was the first time that Spider-Man 2, you know, what got me through a rough patch in life, and then things eventually did get better. But whenever I was in a rough patch in life, or even, like, Spider-Man 2... would get me through hard times, and I still enjoyed it even when life was going pretty good. So Spider-Man 2 was my favorite Spider-Man movie for that reason. I revisited Spider-Man 2 so many times, and I've always wondered if there would be a Spider-Man movie that would do to me what Spider-Man 2 did for me. I've been going through a really rough time emotionally lately, and I don't think I can begin to describe in words how much I needed to see Spider-Man No Way Home, because the Peter Parker in this movie goes through a really rough time. And just like what Spider-Man 2 has done for me over the past decade and a half, Spider-Man No Way Home made me feel really good after a really shitty week. And I am so grateful I've seen this movie. I cannot wait to see it again. I really am a little as of this recording, I have seen Spider-Man No Way Home one time. It's literally like a couple hours after I walked out of the theater. Remember how when you and I saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, you were kind of like, you know, on an emotional, and, you know,
I was like high on endorphins.
You were high on endorphins.
Yeah, and I rewatched it again. I was like, I really hope this holds up.
I really fucking hope that
I'm kind of, cause
No Way Home holds up.
Because, like, when I watched Civil War for the first time, I kind of felt the same way about it as I did with this. And I actually don't like rewatching that movie anymore, because I think it's kind of silly in the grand scheme of things.
Well, when you understand what's coming in the MCU, it seems petty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
But at the time, Civil War was awesome.
Yeah, it was at the time. So yeah, I know. I always feel like this hesitation to watch a lot of the MCU again because I'm worried like it's just gonna be like this long laundry list, and the movies on their own may not hold up as well as a standalone adventure. But like I don't know, this one was neat. I would happily rewatch it again. I probably will. Although, granted, the COVID mandates are being a little bit more restrictive.
Because, until booster shots in Canada and the United States are now becoming a thing. So, the booster shots are the best way to reduce case levels with Omicron. So, until enough people get their boosters, we're kind of back in mild pandemic mode. Like, we're not seeing, like, crazy closures, but...
feels like a fifth, sixth lockdown again.
Oh my
Where are we
fucking
at now? I don't even remember.
It's been almost 2 years. I am so done with this pandemic. Can 2022 be the year that we curb stomp this virus out of existence and just go back to our fucking lives? Because I got weddings to go to in the new year. Seriously.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Alright.
So that's Spider-Man No Way Home. I highly, highly recommend it. You might be a little lost if you're just a newcomer to Spider-Man and you haven't like seen the other 7 movies, or how many ever there.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah,
like
there's
the trilogy. You got 2. You got another 2.
So if you haven't seen the previous 7 Spider-Man movies or Avengers: Infinity War or Endgame, go check them out. And then watch this, you'll understand why this is such a special experience. Like, and I want to see, the next time I see this, I'm either going to see it with Michael, who was supposed to join us tonight, but for logistical reasons couldn't. I want to see that with him, because he and I are we've got a little project of our own that's going to be a little love letter to the superhero genre that we're going to go to work on in the new year. But I want to see this with Michael, and I want to see this with my dad, because in 2002, on a cold, rainy night, my dad took me to see the first Spider-Man movie, and I really owe it to him because he's part of the reason why I love comic book movies so much. So thanks, nice. Dad. I hope we can see this movie ASAP. Let's do it up. Go see it. It's worth it. If you are a Spider-Man fan, if you followed Spider-Man over the last 20 years, you won't be disappointed. Go see it.